Well, I bought it at auction about 3 years ago.
Right, so this is coming through the ride. Do you know much about Remington and his background?
Very little.
Here is a man from a comfortable family in New York, born in about 1861, I think. He went to Yale Art School and then discovered the Wild West and went out, to forsake his middle-class background, and went out and lived with the cowboys, went to Kansas City, which is the epitome, I think, to us Europeans of the Wild West, where he invested in a saloon and was cheated out of all his money.
Yes.
And ended up going back to New York with $3 in his pocket. So he had a colourful life. But here is a man who was incredibly talented. He actually first started doing sketches and brought hundreds of sketches back to New York of his Wild West adventures. And then he discovered towards the end of the century, in his, late 30s, that he could actually model in clay. And was a very good modeler in clay, as we see here.
Yes.
And actually then rebuilt his fortune and made a lot of money with bronzes like this. But I think you've given me my biggest headache of the Antiques Roadshow.
Hi.
Where do we start? There are one or two things I don't like about it. What I don't like is the fact that it doesn't say copyright, nor anywhere, unless I've missed it, can I see the foundry stamp, Roman bronze foundry, well, his foundry. This is the first of his, beginning of his lost wax process.
Yes.
It should have that on it. However, having said that, the foundry itself were allowed to make a few models after the originals were destroyed by his widow ordered them all to be destroyed.
Oh, yes.
But they made some, what the Americans call midnight copies. So, you know,
yes,
late
came
at
out
night.
of the back door of the
illegal
factory.
back door, exactly,
Indeed.
exactly. But then the mass of them, the ones that we generally see, are made in the last 20 or 30 years. Which one is this?
Yes.
I don't like this bent gun.
No.
Of course it could be bent in transport. The one here, that to me looks like it's bent in the casting,
Yes.
and that's not a good sign. Do you notice here, there's a little drip?
Yes.
That's a drip of wax when it's been cast.
Yes.
I would like to think that Frederic Remington himself, if he'd have seen this, would have had that cleaned
Found
off.
it off.
So there are things that I don't like about it. It doesn't add up. Having said that, there are some 15 to 18 original casts. We don't know precisely how many casts there were made. Even more tantalizingly, we don't know precisely where all those 15 to 18 casts are.
Yes.
So there may be some still around in
That's
private
right.
hands. Even more tantalizingly, of those 15 or so, some of the casts that are in museums, even American museums, they're now discovering are fakes as well.
Are they?
So the court is wide open here.
Of course.
We just do not know.
Yes.
The expertise is in America. One cannot
Yes.
pretend, that, and I don't think there's anyone here who can tell us categorically whether it's right or wrong. And I'm certainly not putting my neck on the line
No.
before a chemical analysis is done. So where do we end up? How do we deal with the price?
We have a nice bronze, and irrespective of the price, it's a beautiful thing to look at.
Well, it's a decorative object. Even if it was brand new, it's got to be £3,000 or £4,000 surely. But it might be one of the midnight casts. I'll leave you with one very sobering thought, but I'm not trying to overvalue this or give you an impression of what this is worth at all. The first one of these, number one, made, are you waiting for this one? $4 million.
Good heavens. Good Lord. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Yes.